I never had a conscious intention to become a teacher. I went to drama school, and my idea was that I was training to be an actress, which I did, and was fortunate enough that they hired me for a year after I graduated. So by the time I left Yale and went to New York, I already had my equity card and I had a certain amount of credibility. And I was older because I had started later. And so all my thoughts were about trying to make up for lost time, trying to jump on the boat and get there. And I didn't have a picture of what get there was. I had the excitement of seeing people that I had been in school with who first they were in commercials, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's in a commercial on television. And then I came to New York and I started making commercials as my way of supporting myself. And then by this time they were in, shows. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'll be headed for shows. And then they got in movies. And so they were paving the way for what I thought I should be doing next. And I was fortunate enough to get a good agent. And I worked a lot in that 10-year period. And the 10-year period before I actually moved here, I moved here in 87. And in that time, I did a lot. I did 4 Broadway shows. I did a bunch of movies. I did whatever I could get, but the real bulk of the work was going to be out here. And I was resisting it because I loved theater. And someone in New York that I had taken a workshop with said, I'd like to invite you to be in my master class. And I said, I'm really honored. Thank you so much. But I just have gotten out of Yale and I've paid all this money and I just don't feel like it. He said, well, I really appreciate what you contribute and I'd be happy for you to come for free. And I said, oh my gosh. And then I felt kind of obligated to say yes, but he was also a wonderful teacher. And so I started taking that class, and because I was his guest, I wanted to contribute, so I would offer ideas or observations, and pretty soon people just started coming to me and saying, do you coach? Would you coach me? So I started coaching very slowly and quietly, and then he asked me if I would teach for him. So out of that came my entire teaching profession, and it was a miracle. If I hadn't been in that circumstance, going late, going to that workshop, I might never have become a teacher. And I feel like a teacher is what I'm meant to be. I feel like all the training, all the acting, all the jobs and everything else was really for me to learn what it was I had to convey to others. And at a certain point in my midlife, I thought, if I married a really rich man, I might not act anymore, but I would teach for free. And that's when I knew that this was really what I was meant to do. And it's so rewarding because the 2 things I like the best about it is trying to articulate the inarticulatable, because acting is such magic made up of so many indescribable ephemeral elements. Some of them are very literal, but some of them are really mystical almost. Creativity is mystical. And I also really love having my job be to encourage and inform and empower other people's creativity. So I feel like every day it's a gift, whether I'm acting, which I still love, but just don't do as much of, or especially when I'm coaching. I just feel so privileged to be a part of the process of other people's creative results or creative perceptions. It's really exciting, and it's never the same twice. I don't know who's coming in the door with what project. That was another thing where I was really grateful I'd been to drama school and really studied, because you might get someone who's going up for the film Dreamgirls. I had people like that who are in my living room singing, or I might have someone reading for some play downtown at the Taper which I've never heard of, by an author I do not know. So I was really privileged to receive all the kind of literary training that I got at Yale that gave me a large scope of understanding of different styles and different approaches.